Good morning. Still no intro for this video. That will be forthcoming. It's way down the list of things that I really feel are important to take care of. But you are watching Research Fantasies GEICO 500 at Talladega Superspeedway. DFS thoughts. I'm not really going to divulge too much into picks. We've covered that pretty significantly. I've mentioned several times that our NASCAR package is available for free this week. Probably going to be available for free next week to those who sign up this week. I haven't made a final decision yet on what we're going to do. Basically, just because Talladega is something that I could get completely right for all the wrong reasons, or get completely wrong but had all the solid reasoning behind it because it's just entirely unpredictable. You don't really want to try to sell a product based on something whose predictability could be, fully contingent on if, Jeffrey Earnhardt crashes the, 10 leaders and you end up with the top 10 eliminated right off the bat. So what I want to do is I'm just looking through the qualifying order, just trying to figure out, yes, I think the popular strategy here is, first of all, David Ragan. He's going to be a guy that I think sees a ton of ownership because he's starting 29th. People are going to get that gleam in their eye because they're going to be like, oh, you know what? I'm slick. And 3 years ago, this dude actually dominated this track. And at Talladega, literally anything could happen, but I'm not buying into the whole, I'm going to try to be slicker than the crowd, and I'm just playing all these guys at the back. So let me read off some names. Cole Witt, Chris Buescher, Danica Patrick, debatably, Jimmy Johnson. Those are all people, 30 or back. The rest of those cars, not good drivers. Maybe they luck out, but you're talking about Jeffrey Earnhardt, Joe Gase, Greg Gaulding, Corey LaJoie, maybe Elliott Sadler, Reed Sorensen, Brandon Goffin, David Ragan, Matt DiBenedetto, maybe even Landon Castle. These are all guys who, if they finish in the top 15, it's just going to be because they managed to not get into wrecks. Yes, there's totally the possibility that that's going to happen. I'm not going to sit here and try to, persuade you not to play them if you think that that's the route to go. I'm just saying that it seems like the prevailing logic this week is to take unnecessary risks because it's Talladega. I don't necessarily see that being the case. I played at Daytona, and I used the same strategy I used here, which was try to play smart, take a guy like AJ Allmendinger, who's starting 27th, who has potential to move up anywhere from 5 to 20 spots. Take a guy like Eric Amarola, who's in the same position and did just win the Xfinity race. Looking at guys like that, Jamie McMurray starting at 23rd with a terrific history or maybe not a terrific history, but a good enough history at super speedways that if he avoids accidents, he's going to see positive point differential. What I'm not doing is I'm not playing a lot of Dale Earnhardt Jr. I get it. We're in Earnhardt country. He's starting second. There's the potential he can pick up, 40 laps led. That's entirely possible. But I think the things that kind of keep me away from wanting to go there are, this is stage racing. I'm really interested to see how stage racing is going to play into Talladega. You can't really talk too much about how it did at Daytona because each track really doesn't have its own persona. So, this is one of those situations where if they manage to run 1, 2, 3, 4 and there's a caution 15 laps in and guys decide to pit and Keselowski is the quickest out of the box, the whole ability to earn points for a guy like Dale Jr. now becomes significantly reduced. Additionally, he just doesn't seem there. There's just something about 2017 headed towards retirement junior that doesn't seem quite right to me. In a race that's basically everyone and their brother is talking about how place differential is king here, it's alarming to see that the mentality is, let's drop Dale Earnhardt Jr. into our lineups. I get it. History at the track, very, very, very strong. I'm just not buying in whatsoever. I've seen a lot of talk, too, with people saying, well, did you see his ownership percentage at Daytona? It was so low. Yes, but that was his first race back. So what are you going to do? Like, if someone's playing baseball for the first time, they haven't played for a pretty significant amount of time, like, there's reflexes that need to be rebuilt. It's not just as simple as riding a bike, especially for us who, don't do what they do and understand the nuances and how that it's not just a mentality. But in the top 10, I mean, there's a handful of guys I'm going to potentially try to work with, but there's a good amount of guys that I'm not. Suarez, he's a guy I've heard a lot of talk on potentially being like a cutesy pick to, to make it. And that at Talladega, anything could happen. I'm just not seeing it. Again, that's a heck of a risk to take on a rookie driver. Paul Menard, again, if Paul Menard was starting 25th even, I wouldn't even bat an eye. Paul Menard would be in a handful of my lineups, maybe even more than a handful of my lineups. But I'm really starting to look 11 and beyond. Kyle Busch, guy I'm just not wild about. I mean, recent form is pretty bad, and the trend is going to buck eventually, but I'm far more willing to play catch-up than I am to be the lead guy on the pack. But I think when you're looking at guys like Hamlin, Logano, Truex, possibly Eric Jones, definitely Kurt Busch, Clint Bowyer, Austin Dillon, now you're talking about a chunk of guys there who have the 10 to 15 place differential possibility. Logano, not just an absolute monster at Talladega, but he's actually just been extremely good lately. If you read the recent form report, it's something like he's got 5 top 5s in his last 6, including a win, plus the one race he didn't qualify and something wonky happened. I don't remember exactly what, but then you hit the 20 to 30 mark. Let's talk Jimmy Johnson first. He's the guy I see probably being the most popular because, like I said, when I read the names 30 below, Jimmy Johnson, Danica Patrick, Goffin, Sorensen, Buescher, Sadler, LaJoie, Gaulding, Witt, Gase, Earnhardt. Jimmy Johnson's just like, what the hell is this guy doing here? And admittedly, he has not done well at super speedways, but this isn't Jimmy Johnson starting at 10. This is Jimmy Johnson starting at 30. So even if he's only able to make it up to 15, or if he's able to make it up to 12, you're looking at 15 to 18 points of place differential. Not that many guys are going to be able to get to that level this week. Yes, it very well could be a trap play, and I advise basically in no sports at any point in time, except I'm doing the exact same thing that I'm advising against in baseball today with Chris Sale, to just lock somebody in, because if 45 or 50% of the field, even in tournaments, are on Jimmy Johnson because of the massive point differential, and something goes wrong in the first 10 laps and he gets crashed, that's it. It's a wrap. Because even though he's highly owned, your chance of getting good money is shot. You might cash because he's so highly owned, and you could end up with the top 5 drivers outside of him. But looking at that 20 range, I mean, you've got Newman, Larson, Amarola, McMurray, McDowell, Castle, DiBenedetto, Allmendinger, Dillon, Reagan. I can make a case for like at least 5 of those guys. Newman, strong history here. Larson, just a good driver. Almirola, I always get his name wrong. I don't know why I want to say Amarola, but Almirola, probably my favorite play this week. I'm not even going to lie. And if I believe he was in my initial breakdown on Wednesday or Thursday when the pricing came out. McMurray, McDowell, good history on these types of tracks. Allmendinger at 27, this is a guy who finished third at Daytona. Like, there's huge potential, and I'm wondering if people are going to look at Jimmy Johnson, look at Danica Patrick, who I don't like playing Danica Patrick, but the results speak for themselves. Anyway, I know that was, again, long and rambling, but this is not really a comparative race. We can't say this is where they qualified, this is where they practiced. So we just have to lean on what we see here. Going to be a fun race. Hope you all enjoy it. Make sure to sign up for our package. Thank you once again. Good luck.